MMOs for years have just thrown gear at the players constantly till they have no idea what to do with it all. Some of it may be good, most of it probably isn't. The difference between games like Final Fantasy XI or Vanilla WoW and more modern varieties is mostly in how important the gear itself could be to actually making the player more effective. This shapes the player experience dramatically. Let's jump right into how. This video is obviously being brought on by my most recent experiences in Classic WoW that has launched a couple weeks ago, and I've been playing it non-stop, but I've been familiar with these concepts for a long time with my familiarity in Final Fantasy XI. Short version of what I'm going to say is some gear better than other gear. there is differences, but the importance is that it matters again. Look, whenever I talk to people about Final Fantasy XI over the years, I would say things like, oh, gear was so important, but I don't know, it kind of like you become numb to it after a while. Having played Final Fantasy XI so long, it's easy to forget how much gear I don't even think about on a daily basis when I'm playing that game because of how worthless it truly is. The kind of stuff that you look at maybe a long time ago, you're like, oh, maybe that's a viable piece, and then you immediately realize it isn't, and you just kind of throw it out of your mind. In WoW Classic, because I have no familiarity with the game at all, I have no idea what kind of gear I should be looking for. I mean, when I'm comparing two pieces of gear, if I see it, if it drops into my inventory or it's in the treasure pool, I can compare them and say, oh yes, that one is definitely better. But I don't know what's out there. I don't know what the options are at any given level range and whether or not what I'm wearing is currently good. Moghouse and Andrigan in our 11 escapades got me used to the concept of a shopping list of gear that I would just glance at occasionally and be like, ah yes, also that. I still haven't gotten a good belt. It's something I just hadn't really had to worry about in the past decade of Final Fantasy XI because of how familiar I was with the leveling gear in that game. I mean, at endgame, you'd have to make some decisions, but usually they were pretty few and far between. I was like, I don't have that many opportunities to get amazing gear at endgame, so I know exactly what I'm going for. But yeah, researching that gear beforehand, keeping it as like bookmarks in your browser, or maybe you've got like Google Doc or a spreadsheet, I don't know, however you might want to do it, sticky notes. Do you keep sticky notes of gear that you're going after, like stuck to your monitor? I don't know, everyone's got their own thing. WoW is much like 11 in that it is huge and gear can come from anywhere. It can come from dungeons, it can come from rare drops of rare named enemies that you have to go find, or it can come from quests or crafted by other players. It's just like the opportunities are numerous and they are expansive. It's all over the place. It's not just like one little condensed section. You got to go everywhere. This means that it can be very easy to miss valuable gear that you may never even knew existed unless you're told about it by a friend, you look it up online, or you see somebody else wearing it and you're like, what the hell is that? But I don't know, I don't examine people very often, and none of my other players, my friends, are leveling any mage jobs that can wear cloth, so I'm just kind of alone by myself here with my cloth needs. So that's what I'm doing again. I'm scouring databases, websites, anything to look up what gear is available at different level ranges. And I'm just kind of like checking stuff off, saying like, hey, that could be good. Let's check that out later. Let's check that out later. That kind of stuff. Because then I can start making things a priority and actually go after specific gear. So if you made it this far, you might be like, dude, this is so obvious. You're just talking about playing a video game, especially an RPG. You're just like looking up specific gear that might make your experience more enjoyable. But I know that sounds crazy, but that's really uncommon for modern MMOs that it matters that much. While this might sound so obvious to most of you that are watching this, it is so rare for any modern games that equipment would matter this much during the leveling experience at all. Hell, currently in 11 when you're leveling 1 to 99, most people don't even equip equipment. They just level naked because it's like so much easier with trust. You don't even have to have equipment. In Battle for Azeroth, I don't remember any particular attention to what gear I had currently equipped from 1 to 110 to 120. I just kind of like did it. I certainly didn't look anything up or seek it out. Maybe at 120 I would have started being like, okay, now we gotta get specific gear that I'm gonna go after. But during that experience, nothing was ever pushed on me. I never felt like I wasn't strong enough to handle whatever I was working on. In fact, I was a monster. It's all the new mindset is that's all stuff that you worry about at endgame. Just level, enjoy what you're doing, pick up gear if you want it. You're gonna be handed some gear that you can use for as long as you want, and then once you get to endgame, you can start planning out the really cool sets that we've set up for you. But it used to be that every level range had its own cool, unique pieces of gear that would drastically change how effective you were as a player at that level. Now, the reason that gear is important, obviously, is because of the stats they provide. And I did actually make a similar video about the importance of stats in classic MMOs a while back. Check that out if you haven't. I'll link it in the description below, as well as a card above, like, I don't know, over here or something. And while we're at it, if it is your first time here, this is Hunt for Games. Share my tips and passions for classics like WoW Vanilla, and of course Final Fantasy XI, my absolute favorite. If you were down with games like that back in the day, subscribe and tick that bell to get notified when new videos go live, because I put out new videos like this every week. But I mean, like I've mentioned a couple times, I wasn't surprised by this. I knew that gear would be important. I remembered how gear was important. Even knowing this, I didn't realize how much I missed it. How much it helps me become more invested in the world around me and the game that I'm playing. Now I have goals, specific gear that I want to hunt down in far off regions that make me explore new places I might not have gone to and see new NPCs, new storylines, do new quests that I wouldn't have even touched. And you feel the difference. The important thing is that you feel the difference when you get that new gear. Enemies I was struggling to kill suddenly seem like they're a breeze. Dungeons that were incredibly difficult before, now much more manageable. I mean, as soon as you get like those couple little boosts to significant stats across a couple gear pieces, you notice it. You can see the difference in your gameplay. This was such a big part of the experience in games previously, with the effect that stat increases, have on you changing your experience so dramatically. Some days you'd focus on nothing but earning gear. That was like your whole thing. You're like, today I'm going to earn new gear during leveling. Because I have to keep reiterating that this is during the leveling experience. A lot of what I'm saying isn't going to sound new to anybody that's a fan of MMOs today, but you'll only see it at level cap. While you're leveling, you're just like, whatever, I'll get new gear as I quest and continue on through the game, but I don't have to seek it out. I've been shocked at how many times I die from like stupid little stuff, and then I'll suddenly look at myself and I'm like, I don't know, my chest piece is like 10 levels under. Maybe I should upgrade that. But if I hadn't died, I would have probably just kept going on until I finally did get a chest piece, and I would never even have noticed that I was lacking. You don't have to just passively accept whatever comes your way. You want to actively try to improve yourself, because all of a sudden you'll just be killing stuff. You're like, man, I'm not doing that great. I seem to be dying a lot more often. I tried to pull like 2 things yesterday, and it took everything I had to kill the second one, and I'm a mage. I can polymorph, I can sleep stuff. I can't sleep them. I'm thinking black mage. This should have been the easiest. They were my level. They were 2 things of my level. I polymorphed the one. I went to kill the first one. I went to kill the second one. I was out of MP. I wasn't in trouble, but I was like, what the hell happened? That took everything I had. Of course, all of this ties back to the fact that the world is dangerous enough that I want to have better gear so that I can survive it. That leveling takes long enough that even if I can only use a piece for 4, maybe 5 levels, I want to go out and get it, because those 4 and 5 levels will take long enough for it to matter to me. And then this ties back into being a healthy economy, because people are like, yes, I really want new gear. I will buy new gear off the auction house. And round we go. It all supports itself to make a full, cohesive gaming experience. Which sounds so obvious, and yet I just don't see it much in modern games. Yes, you can buy equipment. Yes, you can make yourself better. Yes, you will notice that you are in fact a faster, more efficient character in whatever game you're playing, but you just don't have to. So is this something that you've been experiencing or remember from your favorite MMO if you're not playing WoW Classic right now? How do you prepare for goals in games? Do you jot down lists, sticky notes, emails, alarms on your phone? What's happening? Question of the week: what is the most out of the way you've ever gone to get gear in a video game? Was it worth it? I'm always streaming on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. Definitely check us out there if you're interested in chatting about some of this stuff, especially, classic WoW as we're playing through that, or any just general old MMO stuff. I love talking about this stuff. And if you're interested in joining us on Stalag in WoW Classic, check out the Hunt for Games Discord server in the links in the description below, and check out the WoW Classic channel in that. You can just chat with us if you're not in the same server, or come hang out with us and join the guild. Call 4. Otherwise, guys, I will see you all in the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, think about subscribing. And if you already have, don't forget to click that little bell next to the sub button to get notified when new videos go live. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on this video, or come hang out and chat with me on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And definitely look me up on Twitter or Instagram and Hunt for Games to keep up with what else I've got going on. See ya.